Doctors warn pregnant women not to smoke. And I think the reason for that is because it's cutting down the oxygen. So every time you take a draw of a cigarette, the baby is being, you know, it's not getting the oxygen that it should get. Do you agree with that?
Well,
rather than tar and nicotine and everything, it's actually oxygen that's being cut off.
Frankly, I don't know. And I mean, I've not heard that before, but I could imagine it being said. I'm not going to try and challenge doctors on this, but one thing that we ought all understand, in my opinion, is that with all due respect to the medical profession, doctors are really medical mechanics, and they do not do the research into diseases and the causes of diseases. Scientists do that. And when doctors give this advice, they're following historically and traditionally what they've always done. They've given the advice of what is understood at the moment to be the best advice. But it is based purely on statistical correlation, and there are so many examples of where things were done based on that sort of information. For example, many years ago there was a very high incidence of pellagra, and they found that it correlated perfectly with the consumption of potatoes, and the more potatoes you ate, the higher the incidence of pellagra. And so they all put it down to potato eating, and ultimately it was found that it was a deficiency of niacin, and the relationship between potato eating and pellagra was absolutely zero. And so I think all I'm trying to say is that it is uncertain, it is unknown, nobody knows today, because non-smokers get all the diseases that smokers get too. And I would always be tempted to take the advice of my doctor, naturally. But I think that he also is walking as much in the dark as everybody else is. And he just feels that that's topical, and I'm sure he believes it's the right thing to do. But there's no...
But a lot of doctors are actually smokers. But the reason why they say, look, give up smoking while you're pregnant is because you're cutting down the oxygen intake, which I think is quite obvious. When you take a draw and a cigarette, you're not getting that gulp of oxygen that you would normally get.
Well, I mean, it may make sense. I suppose the real answer is stop breathing. There's now so many billion tons of chemicals in the air every day. So
Okay,
I can't really imagine how a few cigarettes is going to interfere with all of the millions of tons of chemicals that we're breathing in every day.